Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
How you been?
Good. And you? How are you?
Doing good. I'm right back in the rhythm of things from the vacation, so
Okay.
bittersweet. I'm excited to be back at it again, but also kind of sad because I don't get the freedom to do whatever I want whenever I want.
It's hard coming back from those kind of vacations. I remember Miranda and I went to Vegas.
Yeah.
And
I remember that one.
it was just tough to be back. It just wanted to be there, and I could have stayed another week or two and been just as happy.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I remember, though, we were so tired. Life was so busy a couple of weeks before we went on that trip, just trying to get everything together so that we could go and enjoy ourselves and know that what we needed to do was done.
Right.
So we hop on the plane, and we have to go. Oddly enough, we had to go east first, then west to Vegas on the changeover flight.
Yeah.
And do you know what the first thing we did was when we got to the hotel room?
Slept.
Yeah. Fell on the bed, slept for like 3 hours.
I love it.
Like, wow.
I love it.
Man. And then we went to a nice restaurant. But
Mallory and I had a little too much adrenaline, so we shopped around for a while, but that was, but it didn't take us
You're
long.
not old either. So I'm old. Miranda's not, but I am.
Right. So this past week, just to kind of give you like a little, before we get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of this episode.
Sure.
One thing I thought was fun that I wanted to talk about a little bit was, so at the end of this month, I have, or just at the next month, I have a few big events that I need a suit for. I think 2 of them are weddings. I think there's something else that I need to be kind of dressed up for.
Okay, going suit shopping.
Well,
really?
Well, that wasn't the plan this past week.
Okay.
I know that I want to get a new suit. Needs a strong word. I have nice suit coats and I have some blazers and stuff. I can dress myself up, but I'm kind of in the market for potentially getting myself a nice fitted suit that I've been kind of putting off buying because I'm like, again, it's not really a necessity.
Every man needs a good suit.
Right.
Steve Harvey, and man, I wish I'd have known you were going to talk about this. I would have either copied it down or something. Yeah. He has a saying.
I believe I've heard
a man needs
a
brown suit, a black suit, a gray suit, and he goes off and lists 4 or 5 suits.
Yeah.
And then he said, you need 2 white shirts, 2 cream shirts, 2 blue shirts.
Yes.
And then there's 75 combinations of suits.
Of all those different ones.
And I think he even lists 4 or 5 pair of different color shoes. And then there's 75 combinations that you can make from there. So every man needs a couple of suits.
And so that's the thing. So for me, I have a handful of white shirts. I got different I have like a few black ties and blue ties and stuff like that. So I have like a pretty good selection. Like I have I know for a fact I have like a few different, I want to say like black, maybe blue. I think is the 2 that I have, like the suits that I have. Regardless, there's one in mind that I have been thinking about buying for a while. And again, it's rather pricey and it's not really a necessity. So it's obviously, of all the things, it's not the top of the list to buy, on a month in or, week out basis or whatever. But because I know, I mean, it's, there are at least a couple of events in October I want to get dressed up for, and there's things happening and the holidays are coming up. And I was like, you know what? It's a gray suit, by the way. Like I want to get a nice gray suit. It's the only one that I don't really have. And I had an appointment to go kind of like downtown where we live at, and it's coincidentally like right next to where our like a big mall is. And as I normally do, I showed up early for the appointment. And they're like, we can't quite take you right now because you're not in your time range. And I was like, I figured, but I'm like 10 minutes early, so I thought I'd check. Well, that was so I went to the mall, like just not but walking distance away, and I was like, it's no big deal. I'll just go walk around. One of my favorite shops is there, and it has all the suiting stuff.
Okay.
But normally it's like a smaller store. They don't really have a huge selection. A lot of times if they do have what I want, it's not the right size. So it's, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go there and look around. No big deal. Okay, it's like a Monday afternoon.
You never know. You might get lucky.
Well, and that was exactly what happened. So I walk in there and I look around and I'm like, well, well, damn it. They have the coat and the pants that match. I want to get like a 3-piece unit, so they have like a vest that like it's the right color that I want. They have the correct tie that I was looking at, and everything is the right size. And I was like, buddy, I wasn't planning on spending kind of money today, but I was like, okay, but I know I'm going to use it. I know I'm going to wear it, and it's not something that's so outlandish that I'm never going to look at and go, I'm never going to wear that again. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's been a handful of things in my life I may have bought that and go, I may wear that once, but like I may never wear that again. Who knows? This is not that. It's just it's nice enough, and it's just kind of vague enough that I feel like I can wear it for any real nice event if I wanted to.
And you could always pair it with another pair of slacks and tie or
and
shirt.
Exactly.
And use the coat multiple times.
And that's what and
just the slacks and another shirt.
And that's why I had convinced myself, because I was like, either if I buy it now or if I buy it later, I'm still going to need to buy it, or I still want to buy it, I should say. Like I said, needs a strong word. But I really want to look nice, because one of those weddings is Mallory's cousin, and one of them is a really close friend of mine. So I'm like, both of them, I want to look very presentable if I can. And so, needless to say, like I was like, okay, well, I got to go run back down and go to the appointment to go collect up the stuff that I need. So I ran back down there, did all the stuff I had to go do, and I was finished with all that, and I was like, I'm gonna go back and look at it again. So I went back, and then I called Mallory on the phone and was like, you'll never believe what I just ran into. And it's like the perfect suit, all the correct sizes. And of course she's like, you're gonna buy it now? And I was like, I mean, I didn't want to. I didn't plan to do this today. Right. I just kind of showed up. So needless to say, I did. The lady at the register was really helpful and got me some like discounts on some things, because I was buying a whole
ensemble
suit, right? So there's certain kinds of coupons or whatever, and I was like, thank you, if I can save money anywhere I can, it's nice. But needless to say, I did spend a pretty penny on a nice suit, and I'm excited to show it off. So whenever I eventually get all gussied up, I'll take pictures and I'll show you. But
all right,
that was like a funny scenario for me that I was not expecting. That happened earlier this week. That I was.
Well, when you can find all of the ththings that come together at the same time, you kind of have to act on it.
Especially that store. Like a lot of times, because I'm kind of thin, but I'm like an average leg size. It's hard because like I'm usually like towards the smaller end of like the pant selection. So a lot of times they may have the correct length, but like not the right waist size. And I'm like, it's okay.
And you can always have things tailored too,
right? And I was reserving myself to the idea of having to order it online, because I was like, I'll just probably order it online, even though I don't want to. I want to try it all on, especially if I'm going to spend this kind of money on it. That kind of thing. Because
the tailoring thing, I'll tell you a quick story here. I had a friend of mine got out of the military.
All right,
and he wasn't exercising like he thought he should be, and was afraid of gaining a little bit of weight.
Okay.
And so I used up a MASH episode.
Oh, yeah.
When they were messing with Charles Winchester.
Right.
And they had the little Vietnamese seamstress take in his pants a little bit.
Yeah.
So I knew a seamstress. And
I know where this is going.
Every week I would have her take in about a quarter of an inch off of his pants.
Oh, man.
And I love MASH. And I said, it was so funny to be able to use, part of the MASH show. And he was getting so frustrated.
That's so
and
funny.
It would just take in about a quarter of an inch.
Yeah.
And he wanted to kill me when he finally realized what was going on. It was he got me back some other way. Okay. But it was funny. It took him about 6 weeks to realize what was going on.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that was.
But don't forget about a good tailor is something to have, to fit something, and
right.
It's really nice. It's good to know somebody too like that.
Right. And I haven't given up on the idea of needing to do that either. But
even if you find one the right waist size and it's a little too long, you can always make it work or put that nice little bend in it that you like, and things like that. So. It's nice to be able to have that option at least.
Right. And a lot of times, like I said, I either order online or I have gone to a tailor for something, like for some things. But this is one of those moments that I was like, I would like to just get it all at once and not have to worry about the fuss of all of it. And that was the thing. They had the right pant size. And I was like, oh, sweet. That's great. I looked around at the coats for a second, and they had the just right size, and it's perfect. The arm length, like the sleeves were correct. The chest felt like it was nice and it wasn't restricting, but it felt fitted and it felt professional looking. And I was like, oh man, they got both of them. Looked at the vest, they got that too, and I was like, oh man, look how perfect it is. And turned around and bam, there's like the exact same tie that I had in my cart, and I was like, I wanted to buy that one. It's like, oh, what the heck? I wasn't expecting all of it to be here, but I know how it is. If I would have left that day and I would have come back either the next day or sometime next week, all of it would have been gone. And I was like, well, damn it.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
So needless to say, I came home, put it all on, and Mallory looked at it and was like, man, you look really nice.
Okay.
And was like very impressed with how it looks. And I was like, that's all I was going for. Right. So anyways, that was a little fun story I wanted to talk about.
Cause that's good, because that's fun, because guys really, we don't do that kind of thing for ourselves a lot.
Right. And it was, like I said,
when all the convergence happens, you have to act on it.
Exactly. That's what it felt like. I was like, it's neither now or never, because I know if I get it online and I'm unhappy with something, I'm going to be sad or upset that it's not quite right. But I was able to bring it all into the dressing room, suit all up, put it all together, and was like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I wanted. Right. And it looks nice. So anyways.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. But anyways, what are we talking about today?
Well, I was thinking about, since the surgery and everything, and the outpouring of support that I have, I was wondering what support looks like to you. What do you think about that? What's your support group like? I mean, now you have a new fiance to add to that, hopefully.
Right. It's really interesting, like the difference in support that I think I think the group as a whole consists of my fiance, my friends, my family, but it's different. It's interesting how they all do that in different ways. Like the same kind of support that I feel like I get from Mallory is not the same sort of support that I get from like my group of like guy friends.
Well, I remember we used to talk about, even on the podcast, before and after the conversations we had, we were always supportive of each other.
Right.
We've kind of lost X-Man, and it kind of feels like something's missing there. But what does it for you?
My thing is, and I think I even said this on the podcast before in the past, is one trait that I've realized in my best friend that has kind of been a trait in multiple friends that I have is like it's a sense of loyalty in some way.
Okay.
And I hesitate to say that word because it feels like, you can only be my friend is what I feel like it kind of comes across as, but that's not what I mean. It's just like a sense that you got my back. Like you, for instance, I know like if something was to happen for me personally, if I was down on my luck or something catastrophic happens or whatever, I could probably call you and then
probably.
I'm saying is like if something was to happen, I could call you. And then within reason, I feel like you could help out or be there or in some way. And that's the kind of thing I feel like in friendship is like that dependability and that I've got your back. No matter what. It's like a really strong thing for me. And as far as like friendship and like supporting me is like, even though I may never need to call on you, but it's just
there.
You're there.
Right.
And that's the thing that is like, I feel really strong about. And I have a lot of friends. I want to say a lot of friends. I have a really handful of close friends that I feel like I have that with. And that's what I think I mean by like the difference in my fiance versus my friends. Because I feel like my fiance is like my best friend. Mallory and I are very close and know so much about each other and know how we tick in a certain way.
Does that support change? Like y'all dated for a while, now you're engaged, and then hopefully soon you'll be married. Does that support stay the same, or does it change because you're married? How does that work for you? You think? How is it supposed to, or in your head, What are you imagining that to be?
I hope that it would grow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk about the idea of starting a family someday, but like that is a thing that possibly could happen where we then would have a child that would depend on us in a certain way.
Right.
And so I feel like personally, I would want us to be pretty strong in our support to each other before we start trying to support somebody else.
Sure.
Personally. But I would hope, and I feel like what has happened for us is we dated for a very brief time. We've lived together for a long time. And we both have been very committed to each other. Mm-hmm. So for us, like the transition between like quote unquote dating and being engaged now wasn't very dramatic of a change. It kind of feels the same, but now more official, if you will. But even that kind of simplifies it. Like it doesn't really feel official in that way to us, because it always kind of has felt like we've.
Right.
I think we've always known, like we've known for a pretty good amount of time, like we want to get married. That's that's kind of a given. Mm-hmm. But it's just been like the right circumstance and money and stuff like that has kind of now allowed it to be quote unquote official. So for us, like my support to her and vice versa to me has, I think, only grown with just the amount of time that we've been together, the amount of stuff we've been through, the family things happen and all that. But I mean, like I said, I feel like I confide in her and her and me in a different way than I would my friends, and not like in a lesser or more way, but it's just different. Sure. It's the best way to put it. It's like the same sort of stuff that I may go to her and talk to her and confide in her about may not be the same thing that I would talk to either you or like another close friend of mine. Mm-hmm. It's just different stuff. But I think I'm able to glean support from all these different places, all these different people that help me out in their own way.
One of the things, as the surgery was coming up, we didn't have a lot of time. They even moved the date up over a week and a half. That's how bad they wanted to get it out.
Right.
And I don't hide the fact that I'm a person of faith.
Right.
And I wasn't scared for me. Either way, I knew I'd be fine.
Right.
If God kept me here, I knew it'd be fine.
Right.
If he took me home, I was going to be fine. My biggest fear was that Miranda would have to sit in that waiting room by herself.
Yeah.
And not know what was going on. Oh, man. And my friends from work, both jobs.
Right.
And friends showed up for her.
That's awesome.
And for me. But they showed up to sit with her. I think there was over a dozen people.
Wow.
In that waiting room. The hospital probably didn't know what was going on.
They thought you were definitely going to die. I'm kidding.
But just to have that kind of support for her was awesome.
Right.
Miranda's an introvert. Yeah. Just getting her on this podcast a couple of times for me
is it's a big deal.
It's just awesome. And in a way, in some ways, I think she'd rather sat there by herself. Yep. Until she realized how much these people care about me and her.
Right.
And they just wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them sat with her the whole time.
That's so cool.
Even tried coming into the ICU for me.
Yeah.
And it was just nice to know that people still care enough to go out of their way, take time off from work.
Yeah.
And support me and my family.
That's really cool.
That support was just amazing to me. I'm still moved by it. I'm still touched by it because in this COVID crazy, dehumanizing, people driving like angry assholes world we live in now, that's becoming rare.
Yeah. It's speaking of like family and stuff, it's been really awesome to see the relationship between Mallory and my mom now. Mm-hmm. Like my mom really loves Mallory and kind of vice versa. And it's cool to see how someone very pivotal in my life and very important to me also has such a strong feeling and a strong connection to someone else in my life that is very important and very pivotal in my life. And it's really cool because I think there is a support system there as well that like because of how my family functions and how we kind of communicate with each other and express love to each other, it was very different from the way Mallory was kind of raised.
Okay.
Not bad in any ways. It's just different.
It's different.
And it's something that Mallory took a while to get accustomed to because it was different, and it's just how my family communicates and is very expressive and loving in a certain way, especially my mom. It's just who she is. And I love her for it. But there was definitely a point in time where Mallory was like, I don't understand this. And that's okay. But now, like, there has been conversations between her and I, and she's like, I have experienced love, and I've experienced the way your family expresses love in a way that I haven't before, and it makes me so happy. And to hear that is like really awesome because it's like it's the same. It's my mom. It's the same person that has supported me through thick and thin, and the fact that she isn't discriminating and is just sharing that same love the same way is really awesome and encouraging because it really means a lot to her, and I know that because she's like told me explicitly, and so it's really awesome to hear that and to see that firsthand, and so it's been really cool. But yeah,
it support and relationships and things like that seem like they have ebbs and flows too.
Yeah.
You know, with people being busy and
yeah.
I've had a few constants in my life.
Yeah.
A couple of friends that I've always been able to count on. Some of them kind of go to the wayside, but then they come back.
Right. My best friend is very much like that. I love him to death, and I know for a fact that he would do anything for me.
Right.
And I would do the same thing for him. And we both know that about each other. But there's these moments in life where we get busy, we go astray for a while, no bad blood. But then we're able to kind of come back together, and it's as if no time has passed at all, and it's just right back at it again. It's super cool. So
I have a friend of mine who's getting ready to leave for Virginia for 3 months to go to a school. And we were talking about it, and I said, well, make sure that you give your wife and your daughter my telephone number in case they need something. Now, they're across the state.
Right.
And he says, I already did.
Nice.
I said, great. And he says, because I know if something happens, you'll move a mountain to get to them.
Right.
And I said, I would.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing I'm kind of used to. So wishy-washy people and lazy people, I just I don't get, because you can't count on them.
Yeah.
I like people, even though you never have to ask for it.
Right.
I just like people you can count on.
Right. There was I know for a fact that the best friend that I'm talking about, Ben, I've only had to do it a handful of times for him. But one time in particular was in the process of moving to Canada and moving back from there, was when I realized I really tested the boundary of that, and he still delivered. And I knew deep down that, like, there's nobody else besides my family probably that would do something like this for me.
Right.
And at that point in time, I was like, this guy loves me in a way that, like, no other friend has, is what it feels like. And I was at a real low spot, like I said before. I've said this on the podcast numerous times. Was at a financial bad spot, was emotionally and, just mentally not doing very well. My visa was up, and I was needing to come back home. Besides calling my mom and just venting and talking to her numerous times, I called him and was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't got no money. My visa's up, and I got to go. I can't be here anymore. And he's like, you got it. I'll be there in a few days. And I was like, I mean, that wasn't really what I was asking, but, like, at the same time,
He knew what you needed.
Right. And that was the thing, is he very quickly flew up there, helped me pack up all my stuff, and then proceeded to drive back with me in my little 01 Honda CRV. we drove that little guy all the way back home here to the south, and it was a wild trip, and it was exactly what I needed. I got the chance to meet with him again and talk with him and see him in person and vent, and just got to have a whole over 24-hour car ride back home.
Don't you get to know somebody on that kind of a car?
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, he and I have already been like on like music tours before, where we've been on the road together. We've been on vacations off to Florida before, like going to the beach. He and I got stuck in the Miami airport and had to stay the night over there, waiting for the next plane out of Miami. So it's like he and I have been in scenarios where we've had to figure it out.
All of those scenarios is what told him what you needed when you called.
Right.
You didn't have to say it. And that's a different type of support in itself.
Right.
He knew what you needed by the tone of your voice, the inflection in your voice, the things you're saying, the things you weren't saying.
Yes. 100%.
He knew, and he just said, let's go.
Right. And so the thing is, like a 28 or 30-hour car ride back home was almost like a return to form. Right back at it again. He and I were able to just...
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, like, a majority of the car ride was just talking about the past 2 years and where I've been at. And again, to be honest, the stupid decisions I made to get to that point, and how I was like, I know I'm dumb, but, let's all laugh about it now that we're all together and we're in the process of leaving, looking back on all of it physically and, mentally, like I'm just turning away from all this and moving forward to hopefully getting set back up again. And he had a spare room in this house. He had a spare room over there that he wasn't using for anything. And he was like, you can stay here as long as you need to get back up on your feet. And then you can either move out or you can pay your way or do what you got to do. And then he was saying that because I had some issues like transferring with my job back to the States again. So like I thought it was going to be a few weeks, and it turned out to be like 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm pretty sure you know me very well. I didn't like just bumming around, not paying my way, because that's not fair. Like I wanted to contribute. But I was also, waiting to get my paperwork all transferred back over. So I was like, I didn't have any money to begin with.
Well, he remembers that. You told him in the original conversation,
exactly.
I don't have any money.
And so we had those conversations like, I don't have any money, and my job is being dumb, trying to get things back over. So like I kept those conversations going, and he kept reiterating like, don't worry about it, dude. But I was like, but man, did I feel guilty about it, because I was like, it doesn't seem fair. And he was like, I mean, it's on paper, it's probably not fair. Like, yes, if you to keep this up forever, but I know you're good on it. And again, and he wasn't wrong. I got my job back, and first paycheck, I started paying my way back here. And it really, like having that here, back home, having that, it was, I don't think I'd probably be where I am right now without that kind of like, get me back on my feet again, because I really needed that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I was in Chicago and needed to come home. I wasn't destitute, but
right.
I had a souped up Mustang, and there was no way I was getting everything in it. And I had a friend, a mutual friend of ours. He got his trailer, loaded up, and came on and got everything and took me back down home to South.
Wow.
And it's just, he knew.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have. One of the things from my generation, this is kind of a generational show, my generation a little bit before, you really didn't move that far away from your family.
Right.
Your grandparents and your parents may have been on the same road, street,
heck,
even next door.
Even where I grew up, my grandmother was like 4 or 5 houses down from the house I was raised in.
Yep. When I was very young, my parents moved to the street with my grandparents, and it was just really nice
community.
Yeah. And that's why I think there's a saying, it takes a village.
You said this, yeah.
And a vineyard.
And a vineyard.
to live right. And
that's funny.
But it's kind of true. We're doing this to ourselves by moving so far away from our parents to establish our own independence. We're losing some of that support system.
Right.
And then we wonder why they don't want to jump all the time when we scream.
Oh, right. Boy who cried wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've always thought that if I ever would have had kids, and now I have the opportunity with some stepchildren, but, the refrigerator's always there. It's got food in it.
Yeah.
Come by for Sunday dinner at least, and and keep that support going. But it just doesn't seem to work out like that.
Yeah, and like for me, like I said, I've also said in this podcast before, is moving away to Canada was the opportunity for me to just kind of have some independence and kind of prove to myself that I can make it on my own. But
now you really appreciate the support system.
Right.
And you've said this on the podcast, how much you appreciate your mom and your dad.
Right.
Both in different ways, but still having that support for you.
Right. And that, is because they were always around. And hear me when I say, I'm not complaining when I say this, because I know that some people don't have that, and I'm not belittling what I did have. I'm just saying my own experience. Them always being around, and especially my mom, like always reiterating that she always had my back and is always supportive of my decisions and is always there for me, was wonderful growing up. But then getting into my early 20s, I was like, I hear you and I love you, but I really got to learn how to do this on my own. And I did, and I made mistakes, and I fell, and I got myself back up with the help of my friends and family, dusted myself off, and then it was like, okay, I now know what to and not to do, and
you
then
really
I
appreciate safety net when it's no longer there.
Right. Well, and so again, I was able to get myself back up and kind of get myself figured out again, and then return home and go. I learned a lot about myself.
Sure.
Myself in a relationship with a woman, myself with finances and all that kind of stuff. I did good things, I did bad things, and all that kind of stuff. I grew a lot as a person. I'm able to come back and go, I didn't shun you guys. It's not that I don't ever want to see you again. I'm back, and I'm better for it, and I do appreciate the support group. I just needed a chance to get away from it all, just to prove to myself that I could do it.
You hugged your mom's neck tight when you got back in.
Yeah. There was definitely a point in time was like, again, because also my mom's she's not one to fly. So she was like, you can come down here to me, but I'm not really comfortable flying all the way to Canada. So
I heard that Canada is easing up on the vaccination restrictions.
Really?
So if that happens, will you be planning a trip back up there?
Yes. So Mallory and I we want to go to the Pacific Northwest anyways. So I think I had mentioned this in the last one. Like, I want to travel more, and I want to plan some more vacations with Mallory and myself. And I want to go to Colorado or Montana or anywhere in the Rocky Mountain area, all that beautiful landscape. I really want to go to Alberta, up in the Banff region, and if the restrictions are lifted, that would be wonderful, because both her and I were talking about going there specifically, because
as much as we used to pick on you about Canada, getting paid from Canada,
right.
Miranda's actually from there.
Yes.
So we've already kind of been lightly talking about maybe a trip or two up there. So I've showed her most of my life here.
Yeah.
To where she can kind of show me her life up there, and show me who she is.
You guys have a place in mind? Would be like our hometown, or
her mom still has a house there. And then there's some other stuff that they want to show me, and I'm excited.
Yeah,
to be able to go and see where she grew up, and
who
she is.
Right.
I even when we first started dating, I took her to the little bitty house that I grew up on.
Yeah,
and it just looks so teeny tiny now.
Yes,
it used to be huge when I was a child, but now it's just teeny tiny. Yeah.
It was the same way with the house that I grew up in. There was I forgot how many square feet it was, but it was, I think, I want to say it was a 2 or 3 bedroom. I want to say it's like a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I think I could be wrong about that. But it was, again, my childhood home, but it was very small. It was not very spacious. And then my brothers and I are each 2 years apart. So there was a point in time whenever my parents were in their like mid to late 20s, and they had, you know, an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
Right.
And they were like, this house is not big enough for this family. We were all kind of sharing a bedroom. We were all, like I said, we were, lower middle class, or so. But
they may do.
Right, exactly.
They may do.
They do.
Get it, yeah.
I can confidently say I didn't really want for anything as a kid. I was very well taken care of. But there was definitely a point in time where my mom and my dad were like, we got to get out of this small house.
Right.
We can't make it anymore. So, especially as we were growing and getting more rambunctious and more, little boys, they were
right.
also eating my mom out of house and home. So, but yeah.
So, we'll have a couple Canada trips to talk about here soon. And that'll be fun. We still need to call X-Man about our cruise.
Yes.
And find out what's going on with that.
What cruise... I to be honest, never been on a cruise. I never really been like a water guy or like a boat guy. More of a plane person. I like planes a whole lot. So I don't know anything about cruises.
I know very little. I was going to leave my portion up to Miranda because she's the queen of that.
I was going to ask which one should we go with.
I don't know. We need to get back in that conversation.
Yes.
So
yes.
If you happen to see him this week.
Yeah.
Remind him of that.
So one of the things that Mallory and I kind of have taken on is my mom had commissioned us. She, again, the last time we had a family vacation, I want to say I was like 16. So that's over 10 years ago since we had like a family vacation where we had like a big outing where all of us got together and like either went to the beach or just had like a vacation of some kind. And Mallory and I got back, and we were like hyping up Disney and having a fun time talking about it, showing off the ring and all the stuff involved with it.
It's a nice ring too, by the way.
Thank you.
Did good.
Well, I mean, not without her help. She definitely helped me pick it out. I told her, I think I've already said this before, but I told her, I was like, I'm going to spend that kind of money on a ring. I want your opinion. I know how she is, and if she didn't like it, she wouldn't probably wear it. And I was like, you give me a couple options. And she's like, here's 2 options, but I want that one. Mm-hmm. So, right? So anyways, I'm not going to take full credit for it, but sure. I did purchase it by myself, though. I will take that credit. But so anyways, we were talking about Disney. My mom's like, I want to go on a family vacation. And Mallory was like, yes. So Mallory and myself, my mom and my brothers and my mom's significant other, we're all wanting to go on like a family vacation. And Mallory was like, well, we've already planned a Disney trip. So if you want to, we can like plan another one for like a year or so from now. So that's one thing that we're in the beginning workings of. It's possibly in over a year or so from now, we're going to probably take it.
So as hot as it was on this last trip, will you bring it closer to the fall or the spring?
So I think the 2 cheapest times to go to Disney is September and January.
Okay.
Those are like after the holidays or after school's back in. So those are like the lowest times, like as far as like attendance wise or I guess ticket sales, whatever. But as well as like resort and park tickets are the cheapest at those times too. So I definitely said a caveat for me was if we're going to go again as a family, only one caveat. I want to go in January this time. So we're hopefully going to do it for like not this January, but maybe, next January.
Sure.
So we have enough time to pay it all off as a family and get it all planned and all the stress is not involved. We can go all have fun together because it's been a long time. And I do think it's very nice. So I actually, speaking of, I invited the whole family over, or at least that whole little party I just talked about. And we sat down. I had made some food for them, and we just kind of discussed a little bit. I had like a little presentation on the television where we were like, this is kind of where we could stay at. This is how much it could cost. Just kind of like gauging everyone's opinion on it. Because I was like, before Mallory and I start like really going hard and like planning this thing, I want to make sure we're all kind of on board and like what's okay and not okay. So everyone was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And of course, they have two younger brothers that are in their 20s, and they were kind of like, oh, cool. And my mom's like, come on, get excited. And of course, I think they're excited, but they're in their own way. They're they're trying to play it cool, I think. But anyway, I think they're going to have fun. So but that was kind of cool to be able to, bust out the fine dining. I say fine china. It's not even that. It's not even china. It's just nice. My nice ceramic plates and bowls and stuff. Okay. Busted it all out and had I tried my first bottle of Prosecco, which is kind of nice.
All right.
Yeah. Forgot what the brand was, but my roommate Dylan fell in love with it. Mm-hmm. I'm letting him try things as I've been, opening bottles and letting him try some champagne and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, it's pretty good. Oh, that's awesome." He drank one sip of that and he's like, "Oh my God, I love that." And I was like, "Really?" So he's been helping me with that. So anyways,
right.
Got a little off the rails there for a second.
No, it's okay. I like chasing rabbits. It's all right.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that maybe Canada is changing some of the restrictions.
Right.
So that I can kind of go see a little bit about Miranda and what her life was like. And see some things. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So, as you well know, with all the money that Canada pays you to promote them
stop it. X-Man. I had got a chance to talk to X-Man this week, and he said the same thing with a mutual friend of ours. He and I were talking with a friend. He was painting a room in his office, and we were sitting there kind of heckling him a little bit, having some fun because he was having some trouble with it. So we were sitting there talking, and I forgot what started it or whatever, but he cracked that joke again. Mm-hmm. He was like, "Oh, I bet it's all the money the tourist bureau from Canada pays you." And I was like, "Stop it!" And of course, the person that's painting the room was like, "Wait, what?" Like, I was kind of confused by the matter. And he's like, "You're from Canada?" I was like, "No, I'm from here, but I lived there for a while." And of course, X-Man, was like, "Oh yeah, right. That's what they pay him to say." Mm-hmm. Wink, wink, and
Funny. That's awesome.
So it was a lot of fun.
Some things never change, right?
Never change. He got a kick out of it, and of course, the person was like, "Okay, I don't know who to believe, but I mean, I guess."
Then that means y'all did a good job with
exactly,
it. So,
right.
Here we are, a year and 2 months into the podcast, and we're still picking on you about Canada.
Yes, and of course, like I said before, I sat here and like the person in question that we're talking about, a mutual friend of ours, he obviously knows that I don't really fit in around here as far as like the culture is concerned. Mm-hmm. So he obviously gets that joke, whatever. And he's like, "Oh, I see, but like, I think I see what they're talking about now." You don't.
At least he didn't say add the alien sex thing to it.
That is so bad.
That was fun. That was.
It was fun.
We would get you so worked up. It was awesome.
It just is a little awkward outside of the context of the episode. Mm-hmm. Whenever no one really knows about it, you bring it up, and it's like, that's a little weird.
Well, if you need to know, go back to, I think, our third episode. What happened?
It was our third one?
Yes, I think it was.
Gosh. I
think...
forever ago, huh?
That's right. I think you and X-Man came up with the first two subjects, and I came up with the third one, and it was just for our listeners. If you want to know about Ian and his alien sex,
there's no alien
go back to episode 3. What happens if aliens landed on the White House lawn?
Man, you make me feel like I'm a conspiracy theorist now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
fun, fun. So
what a good support group I have, huh?
That's right.
Full of friends
with friends like y'all, I don't need any enemies, right? That's awesome.
I love it. Yeah, I'm trying to convince and trying to find the free time to try and grab X-Man back on here.
We need to.
We need to think of a podcast subject to talk with him. I really want to get a good one with him, hit one at the park, because obviously you can't be here all the time. Mm-hmm. So if we get the opportunity, I want to really get a good one.
Yeah, let's think about that. And we need to get Sam back on.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
And I'm going to talk to Miranda, and she's willing to come back too.
Okay.
Everybody always seems to enjoy those three. And we need to have them back. And I think we have some things in the works for maybe some other guest hosts.
Yes.
And I think that would be fun.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel as tired doing the last one or two we did together. I was kind of exhausted.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling a lot better at it.
Well, it was also like your work schedule and stuff too. It's been, that was hard the past
even talking
weeks.
To the surgeon, they didn't want me back for 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's 6 days from now.
Really?
Yes. And so he didn't even want me back to work yet. But I convinced him to go ahead and sign it for 30 days, light duty.
Yeah.
So I started back half days.
Okay.
Did 5 hours 1 week. every day. Then 6 hours the next one. And then I said, I'll do 7 or 8 hours and back 8 hours a day. So,
wow.
There's I still have doctor appointments.
Yeah.
So that kind of affects it a little bit, but it's all right.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that
getting back in the saddle.
Getting back in the saddle again.
Mm-hmm. And I still have people coming in at work, just checking on me.
Yeah.
Hey man, glad you're back. How you feeling? What can we do?
That's cool.
One of my super higher ups sent me a big long text and came and checked on me. What can we do to make your transition back to full time or back to work easier? What can we do?
Right.
And I'm looking at this like, wow.
That's really cool.
For work.
Yeah.
To do that is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with where I'm at right now. Like I had said a few months ago, or I guess it's been about 2 months ago, whenever you had started the process of your brain surgery stuff, I was in the process of transitioning to a new job.
Mm-hmm.
And because of like a better work environment with people that I enjoy working with and having a fun time with. Not to say that I didn't before, but it's just the atmosphere of the previous job changed. People had left, and all of a sudden I realized like the core reason why I'm here isn't here anymore, and I'm doing a whole bunch of work, and like the life is not there.
Right.
And so now moving into a job with people that I'm actually having fun with, and I'm doing the work that I love to do.
You lost some of the support that you had over there.
Oh, 100%. That's exactly what it was.
Even though it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It just wasn't as good.
There was 2 people that hired me on at the previous job I was at, and I slowly started to realize after they had both left because of different reasons that like they were the reasons why I was there. Like there may be other people and other like situations, or I may enjoy the work and this, that, and the other that like kept me going. That also was fun parts of the job, but like I realized after one of them got put in a new job and another one moved to a different company, like all of a sudden I realized the hard way that I was like, they were the ones that were really kind of keeping me here. They were making everything else kind of fun. And now that they're not here, it's not quite as fun.
Yep.
I sat down with a really good friend of mine. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I was like, well,
there you go.
It is what it is. And that's so, yeah. And it really feels like it kind of reignited something inside of me in a creative way.
So support is something that we need in all aspects of our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Family, relationships, work.
Right.
So.
And it's like I think I said right from the beginning, I think support looks different in different applications.
Sure.
The kind of support that I get from my boss or from the people that I work with is very different than probably like my best friend or from my fiance.
And I think I was very lucky through this last event to find out that my work supported me like my family.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yeah.
It was really, really
It's nice when they cross, like whenever like they want to help each other out. But I'm just meaning like that it can look different.
Sure. Absolutely. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
I was fascinated.
Yes.
And excited to see them kind of blend in and meld together a little bit.
That's really cool.
That was really nice.
Well, especially in a situation like that, it's nice to see whenever you may fall, everyone, like regardless of how they may support you, is all there.
Well, with Miranda being an introvert and me being an extrovert, we technically have to do 2 of everything.
Oh yeah.
So the day we got engaged, it was just her and I.
Okay.
At our favorite little restaurant.
Right.
And then a couple weeks later was for me.
Yeah.
That one was for her. This one's for me, where we had 20 some odd people and had a nice dinner party and had everybody around us and people from work and friends and just huge. And then the wedding right before that was the same. We had a couple of friends.
That's cool.
And that was, obviously to make sure that, in case something happened bad in the surgery.
Right.
But now when I heal up completely, I want to do the ceremony again.
Yeah.
And then have a big party.
Of course, yeah.
And, I told her, I said, I promise I won't invite more than 450 people. And she's like, no, you won't. And she said, no, don't you dare.
I may invite 400, 500 people.
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
right.
But it's all good.
Yeah.
She supports me amazingly. I've never had that from girlfriend or anything like that. I haven't had that kind of support.
One thing that Mallory had said, and it really kind of rocked my world one time. We were having like a really deep conversation about this kind of stuff and just support and family and love and all that kind of stuff. Just, just talking. And she was like, there's a difference between like boyfriends and girlfriends or like, partners or whatever you want to classify it as. And she was like, you feel like my partner in crime, like right. my partner in life. Like there's this, it doesn't just feel like we're just a couple or I do my thing, you do your thing. It feels like we're going through this together.
A team.
Yeah, a team.
You're a team.
And
y'all, and people look at y'all can see that.
Right.
When I look at you, that's what I see. But I also feel like that's how people view Miranda and I.
Yeah.
We're just a good team.
Right.
We fit well together. So, but when I look at you and Mallory, that's what I see. I see y'all as a team. There's just this connection that y'all have.
Right. Well, and it was interesting to talk about that and kind of see her perspective because it opened my eyes in a new way. Because after that we had talked about it and I was like, it feels like a family. She had said this. She was like, I may have like my family, but it's like, but you feel like the start of like a new family, like
technically.
Well, when's it? That was what I'm saying. It's like that's kind of what right. I mean.
Yes.
Biblically and of course like traditionally what it kind of is, like you kind of start your own family. It's like this is kind of where it begins for us in a way. We can have other families from both sides and friends and people, but like at the end of the day, like we are a family in our own way, in our own home and stuff like that. So anyways, it was just cool to I know I felt that way, but then you may feel a certain way and you may talk about it with somebody, but to hear them, whoever you're talking, like your significant other or friend or whoever, like kind of speak that same thing to you, it's like I feel the same way, and it just makes me feel so reassured that we're also just on the same page.
Well, it's like my friend who's going out of town for a couple of months.
Right.
He already knew, but when I said it, kind of set it in stone.
Right. It just reassures you.
Sure.
Right? It's really nice.
All righty.
Well, yeah, that was a great episode. I feel like
that was
glad. Okay, well, if you're looking to get in touch with us, you can reach out to us on Facebook at facebook.com/retrospectpod, or you can just type in linktree/retrospectpod, and you can be able to find all of our links and ways to listen to us and all that kind of good stuff. So, but anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Peace.